All right, we are at 6:05, so we're going to go ahead and get started. Good evening, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us. Each time y'all join us to learn about the lead-free DC, you become part of our mission to remove lead service lines from the district, and we are grateful for your time. For tonight, we're going to continue to keep you updated on our overall progress toward replacing lead lines and make sure you know how to engage with the program. You can see here on the slide deck our agenda for this evening. For our featured topic tonight, we have John Kosa and Michael Walsh, who will give some information from DC Water to share more information about programs where you can initiate your own service line replacement, followed by an open Q&A. As we present tonight, we encourage everyone to submit questions in the chat. We will try to address them as we go through the content. Also, we have a dedicated Q&A session after the presentation to make sure we can address as many questions as possible. We're starting with the audience on mute tonight. As we get to the Q&A portion of the presentation, we'll change your settings so you can unmute and ask your questions. When we get to that point, Emmanuel Briggs will confirm your settings and are changed and let you know that you can unmute. We thank you for your patience with this process. It does help us make sure we can address as many questions as possible and as thoroughly as possible. And of course, if you don't want to come off mute, you always have the option to just put the question in the chat. In each webinar, we like to make sure you're getting updates about the program and our progress toward our goals. And this month we have some especially exciting news. We are excited to share our celebration of our 10,000th replacement earlier this month. NFL legend Darryl Green joined us to deliver a one-of-a-kind surprise to one of our homeowners who recently received a replacement. This is a major milestone for the program. We have replaced more than 25% of the lead service lines in the district. We have many more to replace, but we're excited to show this progress. Thank you to our crews, our contractors, and our partners who all made this possible. Since our last meeting in July, we've made significant progress. Nearly 900 new lead service lines have been replaced. Also, we've verified close to 2,300 additional lines. Each time we share updates, we highlight both replacements and verifications because together they reflect our commitment to removing all lead service lines from the district. We want you to feel confident that when we're doing this type of construction in your neighborhood, we're not only making physical progress of removing lead service lines, but also checking for any possibility of a lead service line and making sure that we have the opportunity to remove it. As some folks may know, October marks two important health observances. It's National Children's Month, and we are currently in the middle of National Lead Poisoning Prevention Week. We know exposure to lead is a serious health concern, especially for people who are expecting and young children. I am pleased to say we have two guests tonight to help speak to this further. Olivia Davida from the Lead Safe and Healthy Housing Division under the Department of Energy and Environment, as well as Amanda Richard Briggs from the Office of Indoor Environment under DC Health. Thank you both for joining. And I will actually turn it over to Olivia here for a minute to share some information about exposure to lead. And then Amanda has a slide as well, and then I'll jump back on the presentation. Olivia, it's yours.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I'm Olivia DeVita. I'm a public health analyst with the Lead Safe and Healthy Housing Division at the Department of Energy and Environment. And in the spirit of National Lead Poisoning Prevention Week, I'll share some information and resources with you all. So for starters, lead is a metal that can be harmful if inhaled or swallowed, as there's no safe level of lead in the body. And young children, especially those under 6, are most at risk because their bodies absorb lead more easily and their brains and nervous systems are still developing. Pregnant women and nursing mothers should also avoid lead exposure to protect their children. And one way people can be exposed to lead is through drinking water, as lead can enter the water when plumbing materials like pipes, solder, fittings, and even faucets can corrode and release lead. So exposure to lead can cause serious health problems. In the body, it moves from the blood to the soft tissues and is stored in bones that can be later released. And in children, it can lead to delays in physical and mental development, learning disabilities, lower IQ, and behavioral issues that can present as hyperactivity, aggression, as well as poor classroom performance. And it can also cause issues such as anemia, kidney damage, and hearing loss, which is why prevention to lead exposure is so important. And next slide. Thank you. Lead is a naturally occurring metal, but we know it's harmful to our health. But it was mined from the earth over years to be used in varieties of products such as house paint up until 1978, as well as gasoline up until 1996. So even though those uses for lead have largely stopped, lead is still around us today and can be found in the air, in the soil, and in water at times. So one of the most common sources is chipping or peeling paint in older homes. As that paint breaks down over time, it can create lead dust in the air, which can settle on floors, carpets, windowsills, baseboards, and other areas that can also settle on your clothing, toys, and surfaces, and your hands. So again, lead can be found in soil, especially near older buildings or construction areas, and lead can enter water when plumbing materials can allow corrosion and leach lead into water. And it's also important to be mindful of lead-related recalls of imported toys, cosmetics, and food products as well. Again, it's toxic metal and it can affect brain development, learning, and behavior. So when a person gets tested for lead at the doctor, it's measured from the blood using micrograms per deciliter. And when it's tested in water, in a home, for instance, it's measured using parts per billion, or ppb. So again, people are exposed by breathing in lead dust, swallowing lead-contaminated paint chips or water, which is why it's so important to identify those hazards in homes. So a feature of the Department of Energy and Environment's programs within the Lead Safe Healthy Housing Division is if you have any concerns or if there's any demolition or renovation activity involving painted surfaces and structures that can expose you and your children to lead, you can reach out to the Department of Energy and Environment, especially if you're in a property built before 1978. You can submit a complaint to DOEE on our website at doee.dc.gov/lead, and a lead inspector will reach out to you. Our division also currently operates a lead in drinking water filtration program that samples drinking water sources and provides certified water filters to child development facilities throughout the district to help reduce lead exposure and protect young children. DOEE also works in close collaboration with DC Water and DC Health, which Amanda will now speak a little bit more about. And if you have any questions, I'll be available at the end of the webinar for any Q&A. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Olivia. And I have to share, Olivia and I have been working closely together for the last few years. Our programs are very much connected. Once again, I'm Amanda Richard Briggs. I'm the Associate Director of the Office of Environmental Protection at DC Health. My team and I are in also the Division of Indoor Environment, which houses the DC Childhood Lead Poisoning Prevention Program. This program was formerly at DOEE. Olivia was on that team, did great work there. Now we've transitioned to DC Health and we still work very closely with DOEE. As Olivia was saying, if there is lead exposure in the home, lead concerns, we work in tandem on those cases. Every time a child is screened for lead, we receive those lead results now at DC Health. If that level is at a 3.5 or higher, we will reach out to the family, the parent, the guardian, and try to figure out where that lead exposure is coming from. We talk about nutrition. We talk about the year the home was built, any travel that child may have done. We go through an extensive questionnaire. If it is deemed necessary to have a risk assessment through DOEE, our public health analyst will reach out to that team and they will schedule that home visit. Whether the remediation efforts are done or not, my team will stay connected to the family, make sure they're doing their follow-up lead visits, monitoring the blood lead level to make sure the level is going down. If the level is still spiking or increasing, then we'll continue doing questionnaires and investigating to figure out where that exposure is coming from. The bulk of the job is informing, it's educating, and it's partnership building. As you can see, we have a flyer here that is between DC Health, DOEE, and DC Water. We work in collaboration very frequently to make sure that everybody understands that we are connected. We really strive to make sure that we are communicating and collaborating to make things clear and actionable across DC. We actually at DC Health have created a dashboard, and we have worked closely with DC Water and DOEE to ensure that it is reaching and has the information necessary for our residents. So if you go to the DC Health website and look up lead poisoning prevention, you will find that dashboard there. And it talks about lead exposure in the district. It has resources connected you to DC Water and DOEE and DC Healthcare Finance. And thank you.
Thank you very much, Amanda, and Olivia as well. Thank you both for joining us tonight. I do have to say it's been exciting to see the partnership between our agencies. Sometimes departmental collaboration maybe has a bad name or can be a bit of a challenge, but this partnership really shows what we can do together when we have a common goal. It's fun to see and be a part of it. Partnership in the district is important to lead-free DC's success, and we want everyone to be aware of our partnerships across the district. It takes a lot of forms. In the photo here, for example, you see some of the program managers guiding local community leaders through a visit to a replacement so they can see the process firsthand. In other instances, it can be more behind the scenes. As some of you may know, we've been working with local agencies like DDOT to establish partnerships to establish efficiency in our process. I'm also happy to share that we are working with Washington Gas to establish a similar agreement to explore further efficiencies with Washington Gas. In each of the webinars, we like to make sure you're getting updates about the progress towards our goals. We have 2 upcoming events this weekend where you can find Lead-Free DC. Please check the calendar at dcwater.com to find our November and December events as they are confirmed. If you can't join any of the events in person, please consider reaching out to us by phone and email with questions. You can also contact Sean Moore from our program to request presentations and subscribe to our newsletter. We can pause here for a second for those of you who are interested in trying to capture some of this information. The email is lead@dcwater.com. The website, dcwater.com/lead, and lead map as well. And then Sean's email is right there on the screen, sean.moore@dcwater.com. And then we have the newsletter, of course, that you can subscribe to on the website. In addition to those meetings, we look forward to having more meetings like this, virtual meetings where we can provide updates. We're looking forward to continuing these meetings in 2026. Please be on the lookout for our dates in January, April, July, and October. There are several other ways that you can help as well. As you're talking to neighbors and such, we do ask that you encourage them to sign and return the right of entry form. This is a thing that DC Water has to have. We have to have the homeowner's permission prior to replacing the lead service line. And keep a lookout for our outreach teams doing door-to-door canvassing. And again, you can always check out the website, dcwater.com/lead. So moving forward, we're talking tonight about, we're trying to share more information tonight about the different programs where you can initiate your own replacement. We do want to make sure that everyone is aware of the free replacement programs under the Lead-Free DC umbrella. When DC Water has planned construction or emergency repairs, DC Water will come to your neighborhood and replace your lead service line for free. In these cases, DC Water will contact you directly if you're eligible. You may be less familiar with the programs where you can start your lead service line replacement on your own. There are 2 programs under the Lead-Free DC where there are 2 programs under Lead-Free DC where homeowners can hire a contract directly. Both options still require coordination with DC Water. And John Cosa and Michael Walsh are here this evening to talk about these 2 programs. The first is the we call it LPRAP, LPRAP, which stands for Lead Pipe Replacements Assistance Program. And the second one is the Voluntary Self-Replacement. So I will go ahead and turn it over to John, who will talk a little bit about the LPRAP program.
Will, thanks a lot. I appreciate being here tonight to share a little information about the program that I get to run that is near and dear to my heart, the LPRAP program, the Lead Pipe Replacement Assistance Program. Now, this is available only when there is lead pipe left on the private side. So everything else on the public side has already been addressed, replaced, and that is the primary focus, the only focus of this program. Folks can readily check the inventory map for eligibility, and it contains a direct link, which will go to our partner, DOEE. Next slide, please. And DOEE is where the intake for the application will take place. You just go to their website. It's super simple. Answer a couple of questions. I believe they ask for just a minimal of information to prove ownership and with the property in question. Once that application is at DOEE, they will go through it, approve it. Simultaneously, you can work with one of the LPRAP contractors to obtain a quote. You just really need to be able to sign it, and then they will handle all of the transfer of the paperwork between the LPRAP program and the contractor. And at that point, we will keep the owners informed with automated emails and messages coming not only from the contractor, but also from the LPRAP program itself. Next slide. And lastly, the LPRAP contractor submits your quote that you've signed off on. DOEE will issue a benefit confirmation letter. Our part at DC Water coordinates for DDOT permits, scheduling, and an inspection at the time of the replacement. And then finally, we pay the contractor directly after the payment request has been signed by the owners. So the owner is kept informed. If they're not happy with the work, they can refuse to sign. They can, get us involved for any reason, but that really is not the case with LPRAP because the small LPRAP contractors have a wonderful customer service element and aspect to their work. They're in the street working with homeowners on a regular basis, and this is a natural extension of the services that they offer throughout the city. So once all that stuff happens, the inspection will get scheduled, the work will get completed, and again, we will pay the contractor directly and keep the owner informed. That's about it for the LPRAP program, but I am
John,
available
thank you
for
very
any and all questions.
And we'll go ahead and take those questions at the end. Real quick, before we transition over to Michael, again, John, thank you. If for those of you watching, if you look at that little diagram there of with the house on the right and the road on the left, you can see there that the side closer to the water main out in the street has got that little green check mark saying non-lead. And it's the private portion, like John was describing, that's led to be eligible for this program. As we click to the next slide, you'll see that the second program that Michael's going to come on and describe now is led on both sides. And with that, I will go ahead and turn it over to Michael.
Thanks, Will. My name is Michael Walsh. I'm here to describe the second program that is customer initiated. This program is called the Voluntary Lead Service Replacement Program. And as Will mentioned, in this case, we have lead both on the public space and the private space. This program started in 2010, so it's been around a minute. Believe it or not, I was actually working on the lead program back even in 2010, so very familiar to me. The way to get started in the program is to call our phone number, the 787-4044, or to email or check our website, send an email, and we'll get the home enrolled in the program. We'll do our due diligence to see whether or not the home is actually eligible based on what we have coming up as far as projects are concerned, or to verify whether or not the materials are actually lead on both sides of the property line. What we end up doing is we do our research. We'll get in touch with the homeowner and pass that information to our contractor. Our contractor will get in touch with the homeowner and schedule an on-site meeting to go over the specifics of how they'll accomplish the work. They'll also go over the cost because unlike all of the other programs, there is a cost for the private side replacement because the home is moving up on the list and it's not being involved in a project. There is a cost for the private side replacement. So from the property line inward, that is the cost that's borne by the homeowner. We've had cases in the past where homeowners have had their own plumbers, their own contractors that do the private side, that can do the private side work. In that case, we'll schedule the work with our own plumbers, our own contractor for the public side to do in coordination with the private side because we like to do both at the same time. Most homeowners end up using our contractor for the private side because they're already mobilized, they're already on site doing the public side work. They tend to give a much better price for the private side. Also, most recently, we've had homeowners that talk to their neighbors, get some of them involved as well, and then we could get a better discount. The contractor offers a better discount for the private side replacement. Once the meetings are scheduled with the contractors, the work is scheduled, they pick a date, the work is completed, and then we end up replacing the service line, updating our database, and then at the very last step, we will pass out a lead testing kit to make sure that all of the lead has been removed and is below background levels at 3 to 4 months following the work. I think that's about it. Thank you, Will.
Thank you, Michael. So we're going to go ahead and move into the Q&A portion of the presentation now. You can always submit your questions in the chat. If we unmute you to discuss your question, we'll also ask you to unmute yourself on your side on your device. That way we can all hear you. If you're interested, if you have an in-person question, you can go ahead and raise your hand if you'd like to provide more detail about your question when we get to it. If you have any questions that fall outside of this presentation, we also have an FAQ available on the Lead-Free DC website. So with that, do we have, what questions, if any, do we have?
I don't see anything yet, Will.
Okay. To get my windows set up so I can see them. On the possibility that someone is typing a question away or trying to formulate it, we'll go ahead and give you a minute here still. But if you do have any questions, feel free to either raise your hand or pop it in the chat. Emmanuel, I think I see a raised hand.
Yeah, you caught it. Yeah. Reverend Thompson, I'm going to open up your mic. You're unmuted from our end, Reverend Thompson. So you can now unmute yourself.
Okay, great. The question that I have, and I have been to some of the presentations before, and I don't remember the answer to this question, but how can we know when you're working in particular communities in terms of getting that right to enter authorization? Just wanting to make sure that it's done in a time, but that you haven't passed by our community. So how can we know when you're in the community or when you're going to be in the community?
So I'll give a little bit of a high level answer on that, and then Sean, I'll ask Sean to come on and describe that in a little bit more detail. There are a few things that you'll see before that construction happens. One is you may notice the canvassers that are going door to door, knocking on doors, trying to get folks to sign up. We do that in advance of the construction to make sure that we have enough people signed up so that when the construction crews show up, there's enough work for them to stay busy on that block. And then the next thing you would see is construction equipment starting to show up. And obviously that's then a sign that we're there. One other resource that's available is on our website, dcwater.com/lead. If you scroll down there, you can actually see a construction map, which lets you type in your address, and it will give you some information about upcoming construction contracts, about your block, if it's in an upcoming construction project, if it's in an existing construction contract, or there's a few other options that are available on the website. Sean, what would you add to that or clarify, if anything?
Well, I will say you definitely can use the construction dashboard, which is on dcwater.com/lead. Also, if you have a question, you can also reach out to our lead hotline at the 787-4044 number, or send an email to lead@dcwater.com, and they can give you a direct update as to what the status is on your block. But definitely, use the database, but please don't hesitate to call, because we'll definitely look it up for you and provide whatever updates we can for you.
And can you say that phone number again one more time, a little slowly?
202-787-4044.
Thank you very much, Sean. Reverend Thompson, did that answer your question?
Right, and I've spoken, Mr. Moore, with you as well too. One other question: how much lead time do you need between the time that form is signed and then the actual construction is done? So, in other words, I guess what I'm asking is, when you fill out that form, or how quickly do you have to have it filled out if the people are in the community right then?
So I'll defer to Sean on the specifics of the kind of the short side of it. From a bigger picture perspective, we actually want everybody to sign up as soon as possible, even if that replacement's going to take place in a few years. And that's really for database management tracking, so that we have the information about where we can go. It helps us with the prioritization. Sean, do you want to? There's probably a more specific answer that you can give.
Sure. So, of course, like you said, we do want people to sign up as early as possible. But in the case where they are starting to do work in the community, the contractor or someone should definitely knock on your door or try to reach out to you once they start active construction in your neighborhood to get you to sign up if you haven't already signed up. Like I said, we do want everyone to sign up early and in advance, but we do recognize that not everyone's going to have that opportunity. But we don't want anyone to miss out. And so if you do see folks that are starting to do construction and they haven't knocked on your door, I would certainly approach them or give us a call regarding that construction, so we can make sure that you are included if you need to have your service line replaced.
All right, thank you both.
You're very welcome. If there are other questions, feel free to put it in the chat or raise your hand within the app.
I don't see any new ones. I feel like we should have had a Jeopardy clock kind of.
I will add just that I know we are focused on our customer initiated programs this evening, LPRAP and VFRP, or the lead pipe replacement assistance program, as well as the voluntary full replacement program. But I would be remiss, of course, if I didn't get every opportunity to remind folks of our other programs that we're working on, which is our bi-block replacement program, which is DC Water initiated, as well as our small diameter water main replacement programs. And you can check your eligibility for both those programs by looking at the construction dashboard. You see if any construction is, look up your address there and see if you're part of any upcoming construction project under either of those programs as well. So, we have a number of different programs where we're trying to replace these service lines, and we want to make sure that everyone is aware of what they're eligible for, and whether it's LPRAP, VFRP, or small diameter water main, or bi-block, whichever way, the goal is for you to get your service line replaced and for you to take advantage of this opportunity to get it replaced for free. So we don't want anyone to miss out on that opportunity.
Thank you, Sean. Very good reminder. Thank you. All right. Well, I appreciate for everyone who showed up tonight. Thank you very much for your time and for your attention. As you have all of our contact information and the website information. If you have any other questions in the future, or if you think of something later, please do reach out. The phone number again, 202-787-4044. And you see the website right there on the screen. And thank you very much.
Thanks, Will. Take care, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye all.